private property owner.
In America, you got private property rights, and you don't have the right to tell him what to do with his property.
This is outrageous. Where are the armed men who come in to take the protesters away? Where are they? This kind of behavior is never tolerated in Boracua. You shout like that, they put you in jail right away. No trial, no nothing. Journalists, we have a special jail for journalists.
Good afternoon, Yuba Sutter. This is the Yuba Sutter Political Spotlight, and we are live out here at 1410 AM, The Patriot. Also on 104.3 FM, KMYC. Well, it's been another exciting week in politics in the Yuba Sutter area, so we're here to kick it off with Tammy, Tom, and Bill.
Yes, Idaho couldn't make it today.
Idaho may be in Idaho.
Idaho might have already fled to Idaho.
Maybe.
Just up and fled. So if you have Facebook, you're welcome to private message us if you have a question or you have want to suggest a topic for us to talk to. And I'm told the phone lines are working.
Yay.
I believe we have active phone lines.
Who did that?
So if you care to give us a call here at the radio station, our number is 742-5555. I'm assuming since it's posted on the wall there.
That's it.
I'm going to go with that.
I called it before.
Okay.
Hopefully that's the right one.
Yep. So yeah, send us a message, give us a call. Otherwise, we're just going to be sitting here.
We'll just sit here and talk.
Chilling.
And here's
They may be checking people at the border of Idaho. You know what I mean?
You never
They
know.
might have an immigration station there now,
Maybe they have Randy detained.
or border.
Yep. They're not going to allow communist Californians
Yes.
to go up there anymore.
Yeah. Anybody but the communist Californians.
Somebody might have
Across
just
the border.
slapped those bracelets right on him.
That's okay. He's going to get his Idaho plates. That way he can slide on in incognito. Nobody's going to know.
Before they lock it down?
Yes.
Gotcha.
Yeah, he's doing it the smart way.
All right, so this is the part of the show where we tell everybody what we're about.
And we're loved everywhere we go. We sing about beauty and we sing about truth at $10,000 a show.
And we'd really like to thank Manny Cardoza this week for giving us the insight on him not going to Washington, D.C. and saving us $6,000.
Yeah, I think
right.
that was a good thing. You saved the taxpayers some money.
Yeah.
Because that's quite a tab.
Yeah.
You know, it's odd that they can't do that. They have to do it in person. Why is that? I mean, we have the internet now, this great internet that just reaches everywhere.
Yeah, but if you do need to send somebody in person, do you really need to send 5? I don't know.
Well, because 4's not enough.
It's
Or 3's not enough.
I think it's harder.
And 2's not enough.
That's right.
It's harder to party over the internet.
Oh, is that it?
Yeah, that could be it.
Have you tried?
I haven't tried to drink a drink through this microphone.
Don't try to use a straw with these blizzards that you brought us, by the way. It doesn't work.
Yes. They get clogged up real fast.
Yes.
You got to have a spoon.
Or a radiator hose.
Thank you,
So-
Dairy Queen, and thank you, Burning Man, for bringing us blizzards.
Lizards.
Yes. Well, we need a little blizzard. It's getting hot out there.
Yes, it is.
A little warm.
Where did we see our buddy Manny at? Was that the
The GOP dinner, the Lincoln dinner.
Lincoln Day dinner,
Yeah,
yes.
that's right. Yeah.
And he was telling everybody he was really happy about saving the $6,000,
That's
which
right.
he should be. He honestly should be, so that's good. I'm just,
Because it was a good thing. It's
Yes.
a good thing to
What-
save the taxpayers some money. We appreciate that.
What exactly is going on? I mean, I'm a little in the dark on this cap to cap. Can you fill me in? It's is it just the baptism in the swamp water or what?
No, so one of our friends was trying to explain to us, and we really should have had her, because she seemed to think that, well, you got to send somebody. She did agree that it is a worthy cause because apparently there's some fighting over funds that goes on, that you have to be there to represent your community to get your little share of the pie. So I would imagine there's a purpose.
That's the new tax and spend program where the federal government takes all the taxes or the lion's share of it, and then you send your people to grovel to get some back.
Could I have some more, please?
Mm-hmm.
And then they tell you, yes, you can, but here's this is how you're going to behave.
Does that mean we have a call?
It really
Seriously?
does. Yes,
No.
we do.
I feel so special.
I'm going to see who it is. I'll be right back.
Okay. Who
So
can it be?
fill me in a little more on the cap to cap.
So it's put on by the Sacramento Metro Chamber. At least they, I guess, organize it for our region. And there's that word again.
Yes,
Ooh, we love
regionalism.
Regionalism.
Apparently, I have to get it quicker. They were already gone.
Yeah, try again.
Oh, they're trying again. I'll take it right now.
Be now.
So we don't have the statehood.
KMCY this, Jason. KMCY this, Jason.
KMYC.
How? Just the Patriot. Just say the Patriot.
Oh yeah, Jason, he's learning the board and they're having a good time. With
We're all
He
learning.
looks like a monkey in there flailing all his arms and jumping up and down.
Yes.
okay, back to the cap to cap.
Back to the cap to the cap. Cap to cap. So you send somebody from your area to listen in and see what's available and represent your community and get your little piece of the pie.
And see what kind of grant money is available or public funds for your city, because the city and the county, they both send people there,
Oh, yeah.
from
Yeah.
what I understand. And
Right.
it stands for capital to capital.
Right.
Yes.
So from
So-
state capital to nation capital.
Yes.
Maybe that was Lori. Tell Lori she needs to call in and explain it to us.
Yeah.
Because she was the one who said that, well, there is a purpose. So
Okay.
we need to understand what that purpose is.
Yes. Well, I might be a little slow on the uptake.
All right, I'm going to interrupt you real quick. We got Andy Vasquez on the line, and he said he could give us an update on what happens at Cap to Cap if we would like.
Awesome. We
that
would
would
love
be
it.
I'm going to go ahead and punch him in right now.
Okay.
Andy, can you hear us?
Yes, sir.
Ah, there
There
you
he
are.
is.
Oh, my.
There you are. If you could give us an update on what happens at Cap to Cap, we would love that, buddy.
Well, actually, I never gone, so I don't feel that I could probably tell you exactly what goes on, but it is similar to the Awani conference that people go to in Yosemite. And what it is, and from everything I learned, Mary Jane was one of those that enjoyed the Cap to Cap, and I'm sure that the congressmen were impressed. But, to me, the Awani conference said it all. They are the knowers. You go there to meet the knowers. And the knowers are the people who know what should be done.
Oh, they know what's best for us.
Not dictators, but knowers.
They call themselves the knowers.
Oh, my.
Oh my goodness.
And I left halfway through the conference in the middle of a snowstorm because it's all I could do to keep from punching them. Who in the heck died and made these people God? It's like it always amazed me on the global warming theory. I was in a Delta tour and they were telling us how much it was going to rise and all that. I said, I'm not a Rhodes Scholar, but perhaps you can tell me how much it has risen in the past 30 years. And his response was, it was negligible. To me, Cap to Cap for a county of our size, I think that it's nice. It gives the supervisors a chance to meet people in Washington, but I honestly believe that we could spend our money elsewhere.
Yeah.
So that's just one man's opinion, and I don't always agree with everybody, but to me, we don't need to go out. If we could put a wall around Yuba County, we'd be fine.
If it doesn't have to be, then I don't understand why we're spending $6,000 each to go and send in 5. That's $30,000, and they're always wanting to find more money. Well, I can find you more money
do on your side of the river, but it's just there seems to be You know the difference between a drunken sailor, and a politician is the drunken sailor spends his own money. And it's this election is so critical for Yuba County because you remember the economic development situation we had with different counties, and they had their own economic development committee and all that stuff, and that was funded. And Governor Brown's one of the assistants said the act was implemented by an act of legislature, and it can be dissolved with an act of legislature. And when you listen to that threat, it happened with the economic development money, and it also could happen to Bullard's Bar because we are the only county that there is the actual Yuba County Act that created the water agency. And by calling attention to it, we make ourselves a bigger target.
Yeah.
So,
That must have been
Well,
back
then
in
that gives you a
to,
chance to grow a spine then.
getting back to going to places, I really think that, and I'll mention this in open session, that we need to take a careful look at where we go and where we spend our money.
Well, I think you guys in open session need to talk about not backing the sanctuary state first and foremost. That would be my thing.
That's a misnomer. We don't back the sanctuary state, but by the same token, my whole philosophy about being a supervisor is like a doctor. First, do no harm. Do not be like Marysville and shoot yourself in the foot on an everyday basis. People are suing right now, and we need to step back and take a close look at it because we have $5.6, almost $6 million of ICE contracts for one of 4 counties. And everybody tells us how to do things. Everybody tells Yuba County how to do things. Excuse me, you don't have a dog in the fight. You don't have $6 million on the line. And you don't have Bullard's Bar on the line. You don't have Colgate Power Plant on the line. Those are items that we got a dog in the fight, and we need to take and look carefully and not shoot ourselves in the foot.
But you guys also got to listen to your constituents, and I mean, if that's the case, then you need to explain that to them. But at the same time,
I got a radio show.
It wasn't on yesterday. We were listening for it yesterday, and we didn't hear anything.
Well, excuse me. I can only address so many things, and
I got you.
I have some interesting people on there.
When is your next debate?
Like I said, if you got a question, call in.
Definitely.
Because
when is your next debate?
Go ahead.
When is your next debate?
Actually, I'm not too sure. I think somewhere around the 19th. But
okay.
I have a meet and greet May 6th at the American Legion for anybody who wants to come in and ask questions.
We'll be there.
I think there's a radical concept is listen to somebody who's actually done something, because take a look at your politicians. Who are you voting for? Are you voting for somebody who is successful in a business or successful in life? Or are you voting for somebody who has never done anything? Are you voting for inexperience? Are you voting for the Munchkin type person who puts a bounce-back program together that bounces like a dead cat?
Well, what I like is your two formal or informable opponents. I'm not sure which it is. It's formal or informal. I think it's informal.
They say this guy says, I'm going to level the mall and I'm going to put up new stores and all this stuff. Excuse me, private property. You don't own it. Get a checkbook out, put $1 million on that thing, and you can do what you want. But other than that, and we have candidate 2 who wants to condemn it.
Or fill potholes with sand.
Excuse me, I do that as a last resort.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we got a lot of stuff to
Okay.
and run over to Andy, but we appreciate you calling in. We really do.
Can I ask one quick question
Yes,
before
you
Andy
can.
goes?
Go.
Did Yuba County go to the cap to cap? Did they send someone?
Yes.
Yeah, I can
Mike
only-
Leahy
I
and
can
Gary
only
Bradford.
control what I do. I can't control what other people do.
I know. I'm just curious for comparison
Well,
reasons.
Come
So,
on, Andy. Marry him. Let's hear it.
so Yuba County
Well,
did send representatives to cap to cap.
Again, they felt it was the right thing to do, so let them explain it.
Well,
Ask them.
we will be asking them,
There's
definitely.
There's a spine
you know,
for you.
And as far as SB 54, please realize that when you're a supervisor, you actually are 20% of the whole county. So you have to look at the county as a whole and say, where are we going to stick our neck out at? It's
I
a
get
lot
that,
of times
but it's ridiculous when
we
you
feel
have a
like
higher
us.
level of government threatening you to, because they
Yes.
have the purse strings.
How do you
Exactly.
like to live like that?
All right, Randy. Well, have a good
it's
rest of your
again,
weekend, buddy.
I have to do
And we
what's
will
best
talk
for-
to you
Oh,
soon.
Okay.
thanks, Andy.
He's gone.
Thank you, Andy, for calling in.
Yeah,
That
we
was-
really do
Yeah.
that
appreciate
was
you calling
awesome.
in. But we've
Yeah.
got a lot of stuff to cover, so.
I like his stand on the mall. And
I do too.
And the private property rights. You
And,
bet your life.
and I mean, that's a good stance to take because that directly affects me in my everyday life.
And another thing that he said is some of these people, they come in and they don't know nothing. You know what I mean? They don't have any concept of private property rights.
Well, that's because they haven't been to the conference yet with the knowers.
Oh,
They
yeah.
have, they have to be taught to know everything.
Yeah.
That's
I
out
wonder
at
if
the
I'm ever going to
Burning
meet
Man.
the knowers.
I'd like to be a knower.
That's out at the Burning Man consortium.
Yes. They know what's best for us.
That's Yuba County's got got an excuse. I'm not going to call it a good excuse. There is a point where principle has to take over politics, and it sucks to live under, like Tammy said, a regime where you're afraid of your upper level government.
Well, here's the thing: is you have a town hall meeting, you let everybody know what is going to be the outcome of it,
Yeah.
and let your constituents decide. If they realize that they're going to have to cinch up their purse strings and cinch up their belt, and maybe they have to lay off some sheriffs, maybe they have to lay off some people. If that's what the constituents want, then guess what? That's what you do. It's a people. It's a government of the people, by the people.
But that's not what Sutter County does. Now, Sutter County, word is, thank you, Ron, that we're just putting that on the back burner, that SB 54 thing, because we're going to wait till the last minute and then we're going to jump in because, they're afraid of higher level of government too.
And they don't have a dog in the fight. Like
They
Andy
don't
was
have
saying.
a dog in the fight like Yuba County does. So, where
Where are people's principles? Why aren't they
Exactly.
standing up for those
Yeah.
principles?
Okay, I'm tired of the dog in the fight thing because here's the deal. Yuba and Sutter County are married at the hip. We're so close. We're together in it. And you know what? It's time for them to buck up and say that they have a dog in the fight. Just like I'm sitting in Yuba County right now. Their decisions do directly affect me. If they decide they're going to up a radio tax, guess what? I don't have a radio show or I'm going to pay more for the radio show. So it does
right.
affect me.
Yeah.
Tired of the crap about I don't have a dog in this fight. BS. We all have a dog in the fight. You do business over here, Tom.
Oh,
We
yeah.
all do business over here.
Yeah.
That 1% sales tax does affect me, even though it's just Marysville. Whenever I go through a drive-through, or if I get gas over here, whenever I'm going fishing, it affects me. BS, I don't have a dog in the fight. That's a spineless thing to say.
Well, Marysville and Yuba City are pretty much knit together.
Yeah, exactly. That's the way it
that's
is.
true.
Yeah, but there's
But-
some discrepancy there, Thomas, because the city council in Marysville, they get paid $3,000 a year, but the city council in Yuba City get paid 10 times as much, and benefits.
Oh yeah, man.
That's crazy.
We don't want to.
That's absurd.
Are we getting into talking about?
They
paying
must work
benefits
harder.
now?
Do they work harder?
Oh, I'm sure they do.
Yeah.
Well, they ain't working smarter, that's for sure. So they got to be working harder.
On this side of the river, they got to work smarter, not harder.
And quicker.
I like. I would have liked to heard more what Andy said about. I think it was the having to do with the Bullard's Bar.
Well, I think he's got a 3-hour radio show every Saturday.
So we'll tune
So
into
we'll
that.
tune in and call him
Yeah,
and just start asking him questions.
because
Then we can get more radio time too
well, the thing I like about it
on his
is-
dime.
The thing I like about it is that the county made some decisions. I think he's talking about the fact that they probably signed contracts with PG&E, and I believe it just recently they started getting funding from that. You know, they signed a long-term contract, and but that's what I like that because I believe that's what the county is supposed to do. You know what I mean? They're supposed to create legislation and that benefits the county and takes care of the people of the county.
But I think that was something Lou Benninger was bringing light to, was that they weren't benefiting the entire county with that whole. What happened was, I believe, in the financing of getting Bullard's Bar put in, there was a loan put out there, and that loan was being paid off through some contract with PG&E, and then that was like a 50-year term, and that came to term, and so now there's money that Lou, I believe the point he was making was, should go back to the county, the people of the county, but instead it's going back to a small percentage. There are 100 people, specifically farmers, that are benefiting from this money. And you'll have to tune into Lou. He really laid it out well and explained it.
It was millions.
Yeah, millions of dollars, and you have a handful of people getting hundreds of thousands of dollars for simply, transferring this water that doesn't belong to them.
Right.
But they're
Yeah.
benefiting financially when it should be a benefit that's realized by the whole county, countywide, all the people of Yuba County.
Yeah. When you live in the state of Alaska, each resident there gets money every year from the oil pipeline. Mm-hmm. See, so
Similar to
I
that,
mean,
yeah.
Yeah. I don't know, if that's the greatest program, but I sure could see money spent on some better infrastructure in Yuba County.
Yeah, like
You
that
know what I
Fifth
mean?
Street.
Yeah.
That's all pitted up.
Everywhere's pitted up. I mean, I ride a motorcycle and I have to be, like a slalom skier on the thing.
Yes. You
but I
got to
did-
drive slower than the speed limit in a Corvette, and that's just sad.
Yes. But I like the concept of the county making, their ordinances and not everything having to be ran through the federal government and begging for money back from the federal government. Mm-hmm. So I like the local program is what I'm saying. And I
Right.
believe that's how it used to be. Nowadays, I mean, when you go to any city council meeting, it's always, we're applying for this grant, we're applying for that grant. We need, and it's grant money here, grant money there. And
Well,
on
one of
and
the
on
things
and
that I
on,
would
you
like
know.
to see is they talk about how they're going to lose that $6 million or $6.5 million now. It went from 3 to 4 to 6.5 for the ice jail. Okay. Where does the money from that ice jail go? Is that strictly the sheriff's budget? Because the last time I saw, the sheriff's budget's supposed to come out of the county coffers, not come from the state. So what I'd like to know is, what is that $6.5 million going to right now? And find out why we can't get rid of it. Because it was supposed to be kind of a slush fund for the sheriff, is what I took it as. And so, yeah, where is that going? And why can't they cut it off? If they come so dependent on it that they can't cut it off?
Well, it's coming from the feds.
Well, I understand where
Not
it's
coming from the state or the.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's not coming from the state. It's coming
Well, then
from the
maybe
feds.
maybe we ought to back the feds and tell them that we don't want the sanctuary
Well,
state.
they're afraid Governor Moonbeam's going to shut them down.
I got you. Well, they're afraid of something, that's for sure.
They are.
So,
Yuba County was able to build a new facility for the jail or sheriff's office
yeah.
in the last couple of years. So
I know what Yuba County can use that water money for. Build that wall Vandy was talking about. Build a
Yeah.
wall around Yuba County.
Yes. The question on the wall is this: even Trump's wall, is it there to keep people out, or is it there to keep us in?
I'm going without because I like being here still.
But you never know. We might want to get out one day.
Yeah, you might.
Yeah.
It has a door.
Oh yeah, that's what I heard. The Mexican population is not happy about the wall because there's no doors.
Well, there's tunnels, I'm sure.
Doors all over the
There's
building.
never a door and a fence. It's a gate.
Yes.
Okay, there's a gate.
So we need before we move on too far, we need to talk about our candidate forums this week.
Yes.
So we had a lot of candidate forums.
This past week was busy with candidate forums. We had on Monday, we had Sutter Butte's Tea Party Patriots hosted a forum for the Sutter County District 3 supervisor candidates. And then on Wednesday, there was a couple events on Wednesday. We had to miss the one was at Chamber of Commerce and Appeal Democrat hosted a forum for Yuba County Sheriffs and Yuba County District 5 supervisors. And Tom, I think you went to that while we were at the GOP dinner.
Yes, Yuba County.
Yeah.
I went to that one.
So we went to hear John Cox speak at the GOP. And then Thursday, there was the Sutter Yuba Republican Women Federated Luncheon. They had an all Sutter County candidates meet and greet. And then Thursday, the Deputy Sheriff's Association and American Legion hosted a sheriff candidate forum.
All right, I've got sound bites from Monday, Sutter Butte's Tea Party Patriots, Sutter County District 3 supervisors. I got sound bites from that. And then also from the Sheriff's Forum. I've got sound bites from that. So you want to go first on yours, Tom? And then I'll go into some sound bites, or how do you want to do that?
Well, why don't we go right down the line, starting with Monday?
All right, then I'm going to start with Monday.
Yeah.
So I'm going to start off with Bert. This is what I got from his whole spiel, and this is the one thing that I took away from it. So here we go.
You know, we're a minority, Republicans are. I guess I'm a Republican. But we're a minority in Sacramento, so you know, you're talking about a federal law versus a state law. And being a constitutionalist, you need to follow federal law.
So, being a constitutionalist, you need to follow federal law.
Yeah.
I'm sure we all got a little bit to say about that, so let's talk about that real quick.
I'm saying being a constitutionalist, you need to follow the Constitution.
Correct.
And if federal law does not line up with it, then it is to be, what, I'm looking for the right word there, ignored?
Nullified?
Nullified?
Null and
Yes.
void.
Much like the issue that happened with the Bundys, and the Bundys are the ranching family down by Las Vegas and Bunkerville. All his neighbors signed contracts with the federal government, and they ended up going out of business. Mm-hmm. Okay, and they were paying grazing fees to the federal government. Cliven Bundy would not pay grazing fees to the federal government. He said he will pay them to the state, the rightful owner of the property. Mm-hmm. Okay, and he had to go to court over the matter time and time and time again. Okay, so that was the issue with him when they came and raided his place and trained snipers on him and the whole 9 yards. And subsequently, you know, he went to they all went to jail. They rounded him up with huge SWAT teams.
Like 2 years later.
Yeah.
Yes, and then 2 years later, and then held him for 2 years, and finally they were found not guilty with prejudice, I believe, and that was because it was such a charade, and there was so much lies going on from the
Federal government.
from the federal
Lawlessness.
government. Yes.
Well,
Yeah.
the problem
Yeah.
that I have is whenever somebody says something like we need to follow federal law because we're constitutionalists, he threw constitutionalists in there just to
He used it as a buzzword because of the people he was in front of.
speaking to.
Right.
And whenever that happens, I lose a lot of faith. Now, I like Bert. I liked a lot of things that he had to say,
I really liked a lot of the things that he had to say.
but whenever he comes in and says that and uses buzzwords, means to me that he doesn't understand the Constitution.
Well,
at all.
because the Constitution is the supreme law of the land, and the federal law does take supremacy over state law in very limited areas, and those areas are defined in the Constitution. So the federal government doesn't have free reign to pass whatever law it wants, and then it's supreme. It's not. It's only supreme if it's in line with that Constitution. It has to be pursuant to the Constitution.
Yes.
Then that is the only case it takes supremacy.
And when it came to Bundy, it's clearly written in the Constitution the lands that the federal government has authority over. And it's not ranch land in Las Vegas.
It's like 10 square miles.
That's right.
And it's the swamp.
And ports and shipyards and arsenals.
Armories.
Right.
And,
But I mean, the biggest chunk is the 10 square
Yes.
miles in Washington, D.C.
But
correct?
it's not all state land in the West, you know?
Exactly.
That's the facts. So
And I could be mistaken of when, I'm trying to recall when that soundbite was taken. Was that during the conversation that we were talking about the marijuana laws? Is that
I don't know
where
if
that
it was the
came
marijuana
from?
laws or SB 54.
Oh, it could have been SB.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. Okay, SB 54, that is a case where you do have federal law is supreme in that area because they have the jurisdiction there over the protection of borders and protection, guard against invasion. But the other,
and they're doing a bang-up job, aren't they?
yes, and this is an unfortunate statement to a lot of people in this area because I'm not a fan of users or growers of marijuana. However, the federal government, that's a lawless, they have no jurisdiction over drug use or growth or what have you. That's a state issue. And so in that case, it's the state that is supreme over the federal government because it's not the federal government's jurisdiction. Yes. So, while I'm not a fan, it's a right, and these rights we have to respect people's rights.
If it's not enumerated in the Constitution, they do not have authority over it.
Correct.
And that enumerated means written down, specifically given that authority over. So,
Yes.
All right. So moving on.
well,
So we had two other candidates.
I'm getting there. I'm getting there. So this is our next candidate, Mike Ziegemeyer. So this is what he had to say, and there's a little bit of Mike Giraldo in there. Whenever he was talking about whenever he was a planning commissioner. So that's what the beginning of this is Mike asking a question when he was a planning commissioner. So here we go.
Mike, would you answer about would you want to put solar panels on our beautiful farmland?
Actually, I got an answer for you, and I got something else to add converting farmland.
Okay.
Okay, absolutely not. Absolutely not. Even though that's what we partially do for a living, manufacture ag equipment, if you put it to the vote, I'm pretty sure that people wouldn't have voted for it as well. Just like when we had ag ground converted to commercial ground in Sutter recently. I went to every meeting, and overwhelmingly the people didn't want it. But yet, our planning commission voted on converting it to commercial, and we got our Dollar General. We didn't want it. I was at every meeting, and 99% of the people said, we don't want it. Our supervisors and our planning commissioners said that, well, we know that's good for you, we're going to put it in. Well, we the people know what's good for us, and we didn't want it, but yet they put it in. So I absolutely support ag ground because that's why we live in Sutter County.
So Mike Ziegemeyer, he was all positive that I saw. And one of the big things that I really liked was whenever they started talking about Glad Tidings, wanting to put in a trailer park for the homeless. But there's fees connected with it through the county of about $70,000. He said, why would we do that whenever a church wants to take over some of our homeless problem? Why would we want to charge them $70,000?
Yeah, here they want to solve the problem for the county.
And the other guy up there, Bert, was all about, well, we need the money, so we're going to charge them for that $70,000 because we need that money.
Well, they all said that they thought it was too much, like we could reduce that.
Right.
And it's not a trailer park. It's 20 spaces, and Glad Tidings would buy the trailers and ask the people from the river bottoms to come in. And like Jason related, you know, the church isn't going to give these people gratuities forever. They can weed out who's good and who's bad. And there's some very good people down the river bottoms. There's some very bad people down the river bottoms.
But the church is going to do that. And I mean, that's
will.
the way it used to be. Back in the Great Depression was, you know, the church took care of its flock, and that's what they did. And if people wouldn't get out and do something, then they turned them on down the road and sent them on down the road.
Well, I'm a firm believer in this one little quote from the Bible, and it says, "If a man doesn't work, neither should he eat." Okay,
I know that's a favorite, Thomas,
Yeah.
but I'm sure
mean,
the
that's the way I
disciples
feel.
weren't running around on the Sermon on the Mount asking those people to do anything when the loaves and fishes were coming out.
Yeah. Well, I'm just a little tired of these guys not wanting to work. That's what I
There's
think.
a bunch of them that
I
don't.
mean,
And that's why the government doesn't need to be involved of divvying out, other
Yeah.
people's money, is because they're not policing it. They don't have a direct knowledge of these people's motivation or they're trying to do something to improve themselves they're trying to get a job. Are they trying to get a job? Where when it's on a more personal level, you have the opportunity to gauge those things and to adjust accordingly.
I've seen some pretty healthy homeless people. I could tell you that. I mean, they didn't look like they were starving to me. Okay?
No.
So all I'm saying is, and this is for the homeless or for anybody else.
For anybody, yeah.
Yeah, go to work. There's plenty of opportunity for work out there. So
Right now, there definitely is.
and
There's no doubt about
and
it.
I'm kind of tired of hearing about the homeless situation every time I go to a public meeting.
It's
too.
not a
Yeah.
new issue. It's a
Yeah.
forever issue. It'll
Yeah.
always be an issue.
Yeah, they'll always
You're never
be
going to
with us.
solve it.
Yeah. Well, that's what Jesus Christ said, the poor you will have with you always. So there it is.
You help the ones you can help, and the ones who don't want help or are happy living the way they are, let them be.
I believe
Dust your sandals off.
I believe the church is the best people,
Arbitrator.
yeah, to handle that homeless situation. You know what I mean? Because
Hey, but they hired a consultant. I don't think he's ever met a homeless person.
Yeah.
Oh, the
But
county
he went to school.
The county
homeless
hired
consultant?
a consultant.
Yes.
The county hired a consultant.
that's is that like hiring a marriage counselor that's been divorced 5 times?
That's about the same, yeah.
I mean, come on, man.
All right, so the one thing that I did like about Mike Ziegemeyer was it sounded like to me what he was trying to say is, you guys aren't going to do what your constituents ask, then the regular people are going to start running for the position, and whenever we get in there, we're going to listen to the people. And that's what I took away from what he had to say, and I really enjoyed it, because that's what needs to happen. If they're not going to listen, they need to be unseated, because it's a government of the people, by the people, and if they're not going to listen to the people, it's time for you to go.
Yes.
Yeah. Do you have the preface to that? Do you have the comments that were made before that, or when Mike Giraldo was talking?
I do. I was going to play. I can play that now. Give me 1 second.
If you have another spot for it, that's fine. But
I'll give you Mike's deal right now. Here it comes.
Protect, as you know, Richard, preserve, protect agriculture. That's why I came out here. That's why I love this area. We got our city and around the perimeters, our farmland. It says preserve, protect. They wanted to put solar panels on 260 acres of prime agricultural farmland. I did my best to protect it, and I remember you voted for it, Paul, and I just wanted to state that, because I want to keep it the way it is, preserve, protect. Also, and there's another instance, was access to the river. There was 3 access to the river, and I was the only one who voted to protect those accesses. Those belong to the people. The people had the right to get to the access to the river. You denied them.
Now, then what Mike is saying there is Mike was a planning commissioner for a while. So when that one of those votes came up, he voted against the solar panels and to keep access to the river. So who he was talking to directly whenever he wasn't getting around to a question until he finally did, but who he's talking to is Paul. So I'm going to play Paul's response.
Paul Bossy is who
Paul
he was talking
Bossy. I'm going to play Paul's response now to basically to Mike.
Okay, so thanks, Mike, for posing that or bringing up those subjects. So regarding the solar panels, that actually, I can tell you right now, was a mistake, in my opinion, for voting in favor of that. Now I went back and looked at it. There's no way in heck I would want solar panels going out on ag property. I too am a farmer, and I don't know why I thought that may have been a good idea at the time, but I do regret that decision.
Incredible. One of the worst performances of my career, and they never doubted it for a second.
But hey, he realizes it now. He realizes that it was a mistake, and he owned up to it.
Yeah, well, that's
There's
what
something
you
to
get.
be said for
you
that.
make those mistakes listening to staff often.
Yeah.
That's a true story.
I want to refer back to the property in Sutter that the Dollar Tree is on. Okay, that is right on the main drag. I don't think it was farmland. You know what I
don't
mean?
know. I haven't been.
And I'm gonna say that the guy that owned the property has a right to sell it, and then the new buyer has a right to put a store on there if it is zoned for that.
Yeah, but I think they had to rezone it, didn't they? I think
They may have.
Yeah, I think they rezoned
They may have.
it. Yeah.
So, but private property rights come into play in this little baby right there.
That's true.
Yes,
Hey, that's being one of these guys isn't easy.
we can't. We have the will of the people, and then we also have the rule of law.
Yes.
So,
Right.
and the will of the people is not always the best. If you got 5 sheep and 2 wolves sitting down for dinner, right?
Well, the 5 sheep are going to vote not to eat the sheep.
That's right.
But if
That's
you've got
right.
2
Yeah.
wolves and a
That's-
sheep,
yeah.
then the sheep's in deep trouble.
Hey, you stole my thunder. Yes.
Well, I didn't know where you were going
Yeah,
with it, but
I know,
I can
man.
tell it wasn't right.
I messed up on that story. Okay, but you get the drift, right? Yes.
Once it's straightened out, yeah, I get it.
Yes.
The majority always tastes good, right?
Yeah. Sheep tastes good.
Lamb is good.
It's real good in a euro.
Oh, man.
But yeah, the private property owner. I mean, that's the basis of our liberty, is the right to own property.
Exactly. That is,
Yes.
it's fundamental to how our Constitution is set up. It's set up around private property.
Right.
You're going to have to tell me what is next on the list because my iPad went dead.
That would be
you can come in
The
here and grab my
Lincoln Day
charger.
dinner.
I got my charger right here.
the
in the
Lincoln
hall.
Day
I'm okay.
dinner.
Oh, I got one in my backpack. There's plugs right here. Never mind. I got it. Hang on one second. Go ahead, guys.
Before
Yeah.
we get to that, finishing, because I just pulled up my my definition of allodial title. We were talking about property ownership and that being kind of
Yes.
foundational to
Yes.
our Constitution.
Can I put a plug in here?
You betcha.
If you want to know the Constitution and you want to know about these things that Tammy's going to talk about right now, we have the Constitution class that's she's teaching. It goes for about 14 weeks.
12 weeks.
12 weeks. Some of the best times I've had. So
Yeah, one of the things we discussed in this past week's Constitution class was we were looking at property ownership and what that looked like back then at the founding era of our country and what it looks like now. And when we're analyzing what's in the Constitution and understanding what the intent was there, we look at primary source documents. And one of those primary source documents we rely on is a dictionary from the era, a dictionary wrote by one of the founders, Noah Webster. It's an 1828 dictionary. And one of the things we looked at was a definition of property. And we compared it to a modern day definition of property that came from like a 1990 dictionary. And the 1990 dictionary says property is the right of possession, use, and disposal of something, ownership. Okay, and the Webster's 1828 dictionary says property is the exclusive right. There was a, that exclusive word was left out of the did you turn me down? Was I overdriving? Okay. So
I don't hear her. She lost her mic, I think.
can you hear me?
I can hear you fine.
Oh,
I couldn't hear you.
okay. So, whoa, that's too much. Now, okay, I'll try it again now. So, Webster's 1828 dictionary, the exclusive right of possession, enjoying, and disposing of a thing, ownership. And it goes on and elaborates, which we analyze in the class. But the difference there being one is exclusive and one does not mention exclusive. So if you own your property exclusively, we discussed, does the government have any authority to charge you tax or limit your legal use of it?
No.
Absolutely not.
That's how they steal from you. Is they change the definition of words over time.
Correct.
Right.
And another thing we learned is a term called allodial title. And this allodial title I had never heard of before I took this Constitution class. And you look at the definition of allodial title, and okay, so before I go to the definition, something else we learned was that prior to FDR, when property was paid off, everyone received an allodial title document. So this is, fairly recent, not too distant in the past. So prior to FDR, everyone got an allodial title document when they paid off their property. So according to Webster's 1828 dictionary, allodial, the term allodial means freehold estates, land which is the absolute property of the owner, held in absolute independence without being subject to any rent, service, or acknowledgement to a superior. In England, there is no allodial title or allodial land, all land being held by the king, but in the United States, most lands are allodial. That is the description in Webster's 1828 dictionary.
Yes.
But now,
used to be.
Now the allodial lands only belong to the government for some strange reason.
Yeah.
They're not burdened.
And you can't have allodial land if you're continually being taxed on it.
That's true.
Because then you don't have the exclusive right, the absolute ownership of it, because you're essentially renting it. If you don't pay those taxes, they'll come take it.
Yes.
So.
I thank you for that little, what do we call these? Snippets.
Snippets.
Yes. The snippet
good.
On allodial title. Can you imagine the prosperity just in that fact alone of the people?
Right.
If they had their property paid for and weren't being taxed on it, I think prosperity would increase tremendously.
Yeah.
Well, you wouldn't have councilmen and supervisors going to Washington, D.C.
Yeah.
on our dime because they would be losing that much more money once your property is paid for.
Right. That's an annual thing, right? You
Yes.
wouldn't have the annual swamp swim in D.C.
All right.
Getting on to John Cox.
John Cox, Lincoln Day
Lincoln
dinner.
Day dinner.
Hey, can I read this quickly? This is from Frederick Bastiat, and he's talking about just what we were talking about, plundering the people. And his quote is, "When plunder becomes a way of life for a group of men in a society, over the course of time, they create for themselves a legal system that authorizes it and a moral code that glorifies it."
No, this is from the law,
Yes.
Bastiat, and it was written in 1850, so there's nothing new under the sun.
Yeah, there's nothing new under the sun. So that little paragraph and that little quote, I mean, look at it in today's light. Right? I mean, I talked to a friend not too long ago, and she told me her property tax is $14,000 a year.
Good Lord.
And I talked to another friend, and his property tax was $6,000 a year. Okay, and some of these people are still in their prime earning years, and some of them are retired.
Yeah.
And so it's quite the burden for the retired guy.
Sure. Well, then the city council should send them a letter of thank you because that paid for 3 of them to go.
Yeah.
But sure, man.
Still need some more. We still need. They still got their hand out because they sent 5.
So on to the Lincoln Day dinner, right?
Yes, John Cox was excellent. That man is got some really good ideas, and it was really cool because he had to excuse himself for a few minutes to go talk to Laura Ingram. So it was kind of neat. He did a broadcast from our dinner.
Yes, but the coolest part was whenever Liz Cervantes was the MC host, said, "Oh yeah, Barbara LaVake is here also."
Because somebody had to bring it to her attention as she was acknowledging the various people that had, previously past and present people in the audience that were, public servants, and somebody brought it to her attention. Oh, don't you forget.
Oh, yes, Barbara LaVake is here also. That was the highlight of my night. I'm sorry.
I thoroughly enjoyed that too. I thought it was awesome.
It was super cool.
So Cox is in second place in all the latest polls. He's in a solid second place in all the latest polls. Because here in California, we have the top 2 rule. Mm-hmm. No matter if they be Republican, which will probably never happen, or Democrat, the top 2 get to be in the runoff in the general election.
So it would be just amazing if there was even just a Republican in the race.
That's right.
Yet alone to actually get elected. Yeah. But just to be in the race would be something. Mm-hmm. That would be a win.
Yeah. Keep those prayers coming.
Yeah.
Because we need it.
Yeah.
That's some positive news right there.
So that's kind of the Lincoln Day dinner wrapped up in a nutshell. They didn't let the candidates speak, but they did acknowledge that they were there.
Yeah, the local candidates.
So, but it was nice. It was packed. It really, really was packed. It actually sold out, and yeah, it was a nice time. It was a good night.
Yeah, I really liked his. I think it probably was his charging statement about John Cox's when I know he's not local, but he's California. His intent of reversing the sanctuary state immediately upon taking office, and I think that's awesome. That's amazing.
So maybe all of our county supervisors will vote for him, so then they don't have to go against the state.
We mentioned the counties, but I know Marysville is bringing it up, and I think Yuba City already voted to vote against the sanctuary state thing.
Yeah. Well, I know Yuba City did.
Yeah.
Or at least are drafting a letter to a resolution to do it, which I don't really know the difference, but wow.
Well, a resolution is just basically a statement, a public declaration of something.
But it has force. It does. It's more than a statement. It resolves.
Is it like yelling?
It resolves something. This is our
like
official.
Like
this is our official position. A statement isn't.
All right.
Isn't.
Well, whenever we come back, we're going to get into the Republican Women Luncheon, and then my favorite, the Sheriff, the Sheriff Association. I'm reading the Sheriff Candidate Forum. Mm-hmm. So that ought to be interesting. I got some really fun sound bites for that. So we are actually off in 45 seconds. Anybody got anything in 45 seconds? Oh, I do. 1410 AM, The Patriot, and also
104.3.
104.3 KMYC is what you're listening to. And we'll come back with a ad for Jeff Pierce. Mm-hmm. Gave us an ad. The Yuba Sutter Constitutional Republicans are paying for that spot for him, so we'll be able to hear that whenever we come back. We'll see you guys we won't see you, but we'll talk to you in about 5 minutes.
in America, you got private property rights, and you don't have the right to tell him what to do with his property.
Like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, if you're not listening
I'm
live,
Sutter, and I approve this message. I've served as a Sutter County deputy for over 35 years. The last 7 as second command as undersheriff. So I know every inch of this sheriff's office from budget to patrol. Being a sheriff takes more than just wearing a gun and a badge. It takes integrity, experience, toughness, and knowledge.
I know all the candidates and what it takes to be sheriff. Jeff Pierce has the experience and the integrity we need. He is the best choice for Sutter County Sheriff.
Without question, Jeff Pierce is the right choice for sheriff. He has the experience needed to halt the expansion of drugs, tackle homeless problems, protect Second Amendment rights, and keep our neighborhoods safe.
We need Jeff Pierce's toughness and experience. The best and most qualified person for sheriff in Sutter County is Jeff Pierce.
All right, so I believe that was a lot of ex-sheriffs and the current sheriff for Sutter County that was in there. I don't know. I know I heard Brandwood at the last, so I'm assuming the others were sheriffs also.
Yeah, Paul Parker was in there.
Yes, so, he's got a lot of backing, and you know what? He has been the undersheriff for a long time. I'm not sure how long. 2 terms? 2 years? Oh, okay. I thought it was longer than that. But he is good. I like him. I think he'd be a good sheriff.
My understanding of the undersheriff is, this is my personal opinion, that he's the worker.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He does a lot of the heavy lifting for the sheriff.
Probably 90% of it is what I would guess.
I would think so.
But, so that being said, I still believe that Brandon Barnes won the last forum. Hands down. That's my opinion.
He killed it. It was awesome.
He did a really, really good job, and he looked to be real sheriff material. So I think we're probably going to be looking at a runoff between the two.
I think, I think Jeff Pierce is sheriff material. I just don't think he's as good of a politician, maybe.
Exactly. Yeah. Well,
and that maybe makes him a better choice. I don't know. But no, he's
they're
just
both
more
great
reserved.
candidates.
They
Those
are.
two are both great candidates.
The thing that I like about that, the one thing that gets my vote over Jeff with Brandon is I like Brandon's age. I like his charismatic attitude, and just what scares me is he reminds me of me. So, that usually doesn't last too long in a good relationship.
That's interesting because I like Pierce because I like his age.
Uh-huh.
You see, he's closer to my age, and Brandon's closer to your age.
Yep.
That's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I think he's more seasoned guy.
I think he is, but I like all the, either one of them, you're getting a lot of experience.
Yeah.
You really are. They've done a lot. They've done the whole gamut through the sheriff's department, from SWAT to patrol to, detective. They've done it all. Jail, they've done it all.
Yeah.
As opposed to the traffic cop.
So hopefully if we get a young guy like Brandon in there, he'll be wise enough to seek counsel from the old boys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would imagine so. Like I say, I really like Brandon. I like his charismatic attitude of, you know what, we're going to do this one way or another, win, lose, or draw. I'm running and I'm putting my best foot forward, and I'm gonna push all the way.
Yeah, both of those guys are great candidates.
I like Brandon's strength of character because he does remind me a lot of Jason, and I just feel very good about the fact that Jason's not afraid to stand up to anybody, and I kind of see that in Brandon.
Yeah.
So I think Jeff has the right mentality to where he thinks about things constitutionally, which I appreciate. He does have the experience. I'm not sure, because he's such a reserved person, his character is very reserved. I don't know how much he'd put himself out there, whereas I think Brandon would.
Yeah. Well, time will tell. I sure hope that both of them would be there for the people.
I'm pretty sure either one of them would.
Yeah.
It's going to tell in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
13 days.
Oh, that's
For
when
what?
the primary?
No.
No, it's June.
It's
June.
June.
Yeah,
I'm
you're a month ahead of
looking
us,
at y'all
man.
cross-eyed in here, Bill.
That's what happens
I think
when
you
you get
got
old.
too much sugar.
The blizzard gone right to your
It
head.
did.
Something's up.
So a month and 2 weeks.
Yes.
But were we talking about the forum that we went to?
Well,
Let's-
we were gonna.
We were going to go in order initially because the
we
next
got
thing.
the Republican Women Luncheon.
Yeah, the next
Yeah.
thing is Republican Women Luncheon.
I didn't make
Although
that.
no, that's Thursday. We didn't talk about
The Yuba County.
the Yuba County.
So I went to that, and I had a hard time just staying in my chair, to tell you the truth. Because
What was getting you out of your chair?
Well, no, I kept sliding to the floor.
Was it a long day, Tom?
Yeah. You know, in the private sector, I had to get up at 4:30, and we worked up in the mountains above Chico till about 3:30. Drove back, got home, 5, took a quick shower and grabbed something to eat, and then was off to this forum.
Well, that only makes
Was-
for like a 14, 15-hour day.
Started at 6 o'clock.
Yeah, you're
Yes.
a young man.
Yes.
That isn't bad.
No, I mean, it's no hill for a climber. Okay.
Or a knower. A knower.
Yeah.
If you were a knower.
So I went to see the knowers, and
Did you get some knowledge from the knowers?
I wrote some notes, but I didn't bring them because they're in my office. So I didn't have time today to go get
Well,
them. But,
do
I
you
can
feel
work
like
from
you
memory.
learned anything from the knowers?
I didn't learn a thing.
I'm not
I
surprised.
felt like it was a bunch of softball questions, and I felt like it was a lot of the same old, What about the homeless? Okay, and this and that.
But
I'm tired of hearing about the homeless at these forums. I tell you, that's my personal opinion.
I'm seeing that.
Okay.
You know
My
what
wife's told me today that they emptied our dumpster out, so she had to throw it back in, and she was a little mad about that.
Man.
But if that's all that happens, I'm pretty easy going on it. But I'm not going to feed them out there, in front of the shop.
Yeah.
I believe they got to work.
They got to catch your own chickens. Huh?
Yes, they got to catch their own fish. So
Teach a man to fish.
yes, but
Catch him a fish. Eats for a day.
we had it was just District 5 that was there for Yuba County.
District
Okay.
5 supervisors.
So
Yes.
that was Alton Wright, Mitzler,
Yes,
and then
Randy Fletcher was there.
Randy Fletcher.
He was there.
Okay.
Yes.
Did he talk much? Well, he probably talked quite a bit. Did he say anything?
Well, they had it set up where they limited it all. You know what I mean? So
Well, really?
he got a few words in there.
Okay, that's what I was going to say. They need to double Randy's time.
So, in a nutshell, they talked about the homeless, which I'm sick of hearing about.
Hey, Tom, are you tired of hearing about the homeless?
Yes. They talked about District 10 and the levee situation.
Widening of the road.
And widening of the road. Now, boy, when I was coming through Marysville to get out here today, it was a zoo. Coming out to Linda. Or we used to call this Egypt, when I was in the bread business. So on my way to Egypt, it was a lot of camels in the way.
Was that BF Egypt?
Because it makes a difference.
Yes.
Might be BF Egypt. That's way out
But
there.
they did talk about a bypass, and I don't think there's anything on the board for that, but I thought it was a good idea to do a bypass. And then they talked about marijuana. Always talking about marijuana.
Marijuana, property rights.
Yeah.
Take it outside. Take that outside.
Yeah. And that was kind of the gist of it. I like, out of the candidates, I like Missler myself. So.
Yeah.
Well, if you listen to Alton, he's going to have state-run media now. Or maybe for the first time, he's going to have true transparency in government. We'll have to wait and see.
Yeah.
Because I think we're going to get to see what he delivers because I think he's the man.
And then we had, after that forum, they had the two sheriff candidates, Wendell and Tang. Okay.
Have not talked to either one of them. What do you think?
Yeah. Well, it was the same old song about money with Wendell.
Wham.
Yeah.
Wham.
It's like everywhere you go, it's they're crying about money, and the pension, unfunded liability pensions.
The same pension that they're planning on drawing when they retire.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Just want to be clear on that.
Wait till we talk. I think we're going to talk about salaries and pensions later.
If we get there.
Yes. I hope
We're already
that.
16 minutes into the second hour.
So that was talked about, and I kind of liked Tang because when it came to the money situation, he didn't harp on it too hard, and he felt like he could introduce some things and stay within his budget, and he didn't seem to be crying about that.
So whenever it came to the softball questions, he knocked him out of the park.
Nothing to it, yeah. My takeaway was that this guy, instead of crying about not having money, he was going to push his people to work a little harder. So,
He must have came to the sheriff's office from a private firm somewheres.
Yeah, I don't know. But he did mention that he spent 5 years in a refugee camp.
He's a naturalized citizen, yeah.
Yes, in Cambodia, I think it was. So I would venture to say that was some good experience for how to improvise.
Wow.
Oh, I'd
Wouldn't you
imagine.
say?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely. You're going to
Yeah.
learn to go get along out there. I'm
Yeah.
sure.
That man must love liberty if he's had that experience.
I had the same thoughts.
I would doubt that he's going to be trampling any rights.
Yeah, I don't think he wants to trample the Constitution, and I think he probably knows it better than a lot of homegrown people.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that was my 2 cents worth on it. But that was a one-time deal. That's the first time I seen him or heard him.
Okay.
So,
well, Bill and I were at the luncheon, and at the luncheon, we got to sit with Randy Fletcher. That was awesome.
Right.
awesome.
Didn't talk a lot. I think he may.
Oh, you guys weren't
I think he may be a little.
chumming it up.
Yeah, I think he's a little upset with me. I know his wife is. The looks that I was getting, she's not happy with me. But she'll either be mad a long time or she'll get over it. It's one of those things.
I learned it's best to get over it.
Yes, it is.
It's healthier.
But it's really healthy not to worry about it, whether they get over it or not. Just it is what it is. What did you think, Bill? That kind of sums it up for me. I mean, we got to hear all the candidates that speak for
we got to
3
hear
minutes.
all the candidates speak. We did. Charlie Schaup is running against Garamendi, and there's 2 Democrats in that race, so it's possible that Charlie may wind up in the top 2. Who knows?
That would be nice.
And
Charlie's a Marine, right?
He's a Marine. Yep.
He tells a good story about the Pledge of Allegiance. I really like that, but it takes a while, but it's a good story. I like it whenever he tells it. I've heard it a few times now, and it is really good. It's very interesting.
I happened to listen to Tammy's video that she sent out this week with Red Skeleton, Pledge of Allegiance.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I listened to that this morning. Thought that was great, too.
Yeah, I really liked all the things that Charlie Schaup had to say.
Yeah.
He is impressive, and I would be excited to have him represent us.
Yeah.
And it would be so refreshing after so many Garamendi communist years.
I don't know if Garamendi's ever had a job in the private sector. I think he's been sucking off the government teat for his whole life.
Yeah.
I think it would be interesting to send a Marine to Sacramento.
Yes.
Have you ever watched a rat swim through the swamp?
Yeah. How easily they move.
Yes. It's just so natural.
They're so at home.
Yeah.
Do the backstroke.
Just like they were born there.
And Gallagher got up and related that the Democrats, they want to have a holiday to vote because voting is too hard.
But we did get to see the elusive creature.
We did.
Amanda Hopper.
We got visited by Amanda Hopper, and as chairman of a local group. I invited her to speak on May 21st, and she's going to get back to me. Once she checks her calendar, I sent her an email on Thursday, and I keep feverishly checking my email for a response.
Bill, you need to up the volume just a little bit.
I'm sorry.
There you go.
Hey, I do want to say this.
Tom overdrive.
I'm going to put this in a little bit. When it comes to all these forums that we've been to, by far the best one and the funnest one are the ones put on by the Sutter Buttes Tea Party.
And I'll tell you what,
Open
they sure got the sound system. Whenever you go to listen to it, it sounds good. The way they run it through their camera, they do have a good system. A lot of people could take just a little bit of coaching from how they run it through their sound system. Their sound guy is awesome.
Well, I like the fact that there's not a bunch of softball questions, not the same old boring questions. You know,
we don't filter them at all.
Yeah, we can get into some good meat and potatoes.
Sometimes it gets a little lively.
Yeah,
but it's fun.
I love it when it's lively.
It's exciting when it's lively. I like the way people can have the opportunity to ask themselves in their own words. They don't have to write it on a card. I like the interaction when you have different people asking the questions.
Right.
I like it when the emotions come out.
I don't like the cards being censored either.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah, we don't ask them what they're
No,
going to ask before
no.
they step up to the mic.
Well, and that's the appeal Democrat and the Chamber of Commerce.
Well, that
God forbid you hurt a politician's feelings.
I almost
Absolutely
went to
not.
sleep in their meeting. To tell you the
It
truth.
went on a little long.
Yes, that was Thursday night, right?
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
You don't got to ask every question, especially if you can't understand the question.
Yes.
But hey, I wanted to mention something before we get before this shoots out of my mind. So One Eye Blind Media has started doing Facebook Lives at these events, and Monday night, I believe that was the first time that was done at Monday night's meeting, and it was awesome because we had the Facebook Live, you had an online audience watching from home, and I told them, send us your questions. I'll ask them for you. I'll step up to the mic, and I did that for a couple of people. And I thought that was really a neat interaction to be able to have because these people, not everybody can come out. They've, a mom at home with 3 kids, she can't really get out of the house. There's lots of reasons why you can't be there. And that was an awesome opportunity. And I think people are availing themselves of that opportunity now that they know that it's happening.
Well,
so you asked some questions at that forum on Thursday night?
No, not Thursday night. Monday night at the Sutter Buttes Tea Party
Monday night.
Patriots.
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
Monday
Well,
night. 'Cause
that was the
first
lively
one.
meeting.
Yes.
And what's going on is One Eye Blind Media is really doing some amazing stuff right now. They've got the market cornered on being able to televise on YouTube and on Facebook the actual events of our local area. I mean, you want to talk about bringing TV some worthwhile stuff to watch. The guys that are watching it on Facebook are getting their local candidates on Facebook live real time, so they're seeing what's going on. Chris is doing an amazing job. He's the owner of One Eye Blind Media and just really doing a service to the people of this area. I mean, doing an amazing service.
Big time, because watching it yourself without the media cutting it all up, putting it in the rearranging it, putting it the way they want it, taking out the good stuff, and
what's going to be interesting is like the guys from city council race that bank on where their spot is on the ballot, and uneducated voters are going to be in for a rude awakening this time around. I think whenever it comes down to the really local, politics, I think they're going to be blindsided this year by what's going on. Just like One Eye Blind Media is doing these Shades with the Sheriff. So what it is he's taking each sheriff candidate and going to interview them and let the public ask questions one-on-one with the sheriffs on a live Facebook page. The first one's the 24th. It's going to be awesome. If he does that with the city council members, the guys who are hungry are going to do it. The guys like Stan Cleveland, John Buckland, and Preet Didball, who are going to be up for re-election, if they don't do it, they're going to get eaten alive. They better be paying attention this year. It's going to get real. I'm really excited about it.
There's going to be a lot more knowers in the general population.
Yes, of real knowers, and the
Real
knowers
knowers.
where they should be in the public, not sitting behind a bench somewhere saying we're the knowers.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's going to be true knowers out there
But
because
if
of one-eye
you're a
blind
knower,
media.
you also got to be a doer.
Yep. Well, I think one-eye blind
Right.
media is turning the tables on a lot of this.
Now he's a doer.
He is a doer.
Yeah.
He's a go-getter.
Yeah.
I mean, he was
No
busy
doubt.
this last week.
So that's Monday. You say to the 25th
the 24th.
or the 24th? And
24th. And
Okay.
it's going to be
Brandon.
what time?
Brandon Barnes,
Barnes.
5 o'clock.
Yep. Shades with the Sheriff.
Okay.
It's going to be on, it's a Facebook Live hosted by It's Yuba City and More Facebook page,
So it'll be on It's Yuba City and More Facebook page.
5 o'clock.
And you'll be able to type in and ask questions of the sheriff.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not exactly positive. I think he was asking for questions beforehand, and he's going
Yeah.
to, because he wants to limit it to 5.
5.
Oh, okay.
So of the questions he was receiving, he was going to, think about the 5 that would, get the most, we would get the most out of the 5 that he selects.
But
Sounds like a great forum.
I
mean,
bet
I'm
you-
not a Facebook guy, but I might somehow tap in for
I'll-
that night.
I'll bet you dollars to donuts that it's not going to be softball questions.
Oh, yeah.
I'll bet they ain't going to be cranking them out of the park just one after another.
Yeah.
So,
Okay, well, this last week, we'll get on to next week in a minute.
okay. Yeah.
The
I'm
last
sorry.
week,
I'm sorry. I'm blowing it.
we talked briefly about the sheriff's thing on.
I've got a bunch of sound bites from
Oh,
the sheriff.
no,
Well,
really?
actually, I've got 3 sound bites for one sheriff. Well, one sheriff candidate. But the guy just keeps burying himself, and I think the public needs to know it. So I'm going to go ahead.
Did we
and-
have anything left for Sutter Yuba Republican Women Federated Luncheon? Was there anything else that we needed to point out that happened there, mentioned there?
I want to know how the food was.
How was the food?
The food was excellent.
Good.
Much better than the
GOP dinner.
Yeah, and it was
Well, it was
less
at the
money.
same place, wasn't it?
Yes, but the food was much better. We had,
and that's the
we had-
Plaza Room at Hillcrest
Yeah,
Plaza.
it was awesome. They had some good food.
Good food.
Yeah, not spaghetti.
I liked the spaghetti because I didn't make it.
Well, my problem was
I like
that
not having to
I-
make it and just
whatever.
enjoy it.
I hate eating spaghetti
I
in
like
public.
biscotti.
I don't like eating it in public.
Yes, eating spaghetti in public's a little challenging.
Spaghetti is good for
Spaghettis.
you.
But I'm glad it was a good lunch.
Okay,
All right, so
moving on.
So the sheriff's.
So the sheriff's candidate, as we kind of know where we stand with Jeff Pierce, good guy, sheriff material.
Hard worker.
Brandon Barnes, good guy, sheriff material. The one we don't know much about because this was his first forum because he walked out of the last one was Dennis Hout.
Oh yeah,
Because
I didn't even.
Yeah, we
I
hadn't-
forgot he was
hadn't heard
even
from him
running. To
yet.
tell you the truth.
A lot of people have. Is
Yeah.
what I'm finding. But anyways, this is first. I'm going to play this first clip. Make sure my sound's up here. So this was him first talking about the jail and the duties of the jail, and basically that, that 90% of the sheriff's job is running the jail. So here we go. Okay, I'm having tech.
A uniform
I
to
don't-
work every day. I will proudly wear a uniform to work every day, something we haven't seen from the sheriff in our county in many years.
Big deal, traffic cop.
Sorry,
That's his theme song.
that was the wrong one. Here's the right one.
I'm convinced that I'm the most experienced candidate on the panel.
Much like Jeff said, 26600, the government code dictates that the jail is the primary function of the sheriff's department. And my answer to that is I have no experience managing a jail.
Hey, look, I've got to interject right here, just this moment. If you people aren't listening live, you're missing half the fun.
Okay. Well, and the problem with it is with Jeff.
With
I
Jeff?
mean Jeff, not sorry, Dennis.
No problem with Jeff.
No problem with
Jeff's
Jeff.
great.
Dennis is he says he's the most qualified candidate, even though he's done the least across the
least,
gamut.
yeah.
The least across the gamut.
Mm-hmm.
And then you also have the point that 90% of the sheriff's job is the jail. He says that
And he pointed out where he said he referenced some government code where it said that
Exactly.
the primary function is the
and
jail.
now all the laughing aside, in that same conference where he said he's the most qualified for the job. Later on, they asked about running the jail, and he gives the portion of the money that, is in the code section, how much of the jail is the sheriff's responsibility, which is 90% is what they told us. Then he says later on that he has no experience in the jail whatsoever. So how does that make him the most qualified? That's a question I would like to see asked at the next forum if he sticks around. That's a question that I'd really like to see asked. But will they ask it if it's a softball question? At the Tea Party, they would have asked the question. But he didn't stick around to that forum.
Right,
So,
yeah, he left that.
yeah.
forum.
So I'm going to play this last clip, and this one is just kind of it's a dig on him, but he was a traffic cop, and this is kind of how a lot of people see him. So I'm going to play this whole piece right here real quick.
Oh, my uniform is so neat as I walk along the street, dressed so nicely from my bottom to the top. All the motorists in sight are incredibly polite, cause they know that I'm a big deal traffic cop. My buttons is nicely signed, and what have we here? Oh, parked in a loading zone. When a motor car I finds in a set of yellow lines, I just purses up my lips all thin and tight. First I scribbles out a ticket, tears it quickly out and lick it. Then I plucks it on the car with all my might. But the best thing that I like is to sit upon my bike, waiting carefully behind the nearest tree. When a car comes shooting past, I just gives my horn a blast. When I chase her, oh, there's just no stopping me.
Now, Jeff was I keep calling him Jeff. Dennis was a motor cop, so that's our tribute to Jeff.
Wow. Where are you getting these things?
That one was actually sent to me on Facebook by a person that said it will fit Jeff perfectly. And to a T.
Dennis.
Nobody.
Dennis.
It's because we forgot he was running.
I know. I keep calling him Jeff, and I'm so
we
sorry.
forgot all about the fact he was even running.
Jeff,
I have to sew his lips shut.
Yeah.
Jeff, I am so sorry, buddy. Whenever I see you, I'm going to have to shake your hand and apologize. I'm really sorry, Jeff. Dennis, I got to keep that.
Yes.
Well,
nobody likes it when they come across the motorcycle cop hiding in the shade. You know
but
that?
that's where he's at all the time.
I just, it just turns me off.
I know.
And my wife says I drive like an old grandpa,
Uh-huh.
But
I've ridden with you. I wouldn't quite go there, but okay, whatever. But you know what? My grandpa did drive about like you. Hammer down.
My grandpa, yeah, he drove.
Yep.
He always had a big old Chrysler, man. Whoa. Yeah.
So anyways, that was my spin on the sheriff forum. Like I say, hands down, I think Brandon Barnes ran away with it.
And honestly, you really just got to look at the resumes objectively. Truly. Yeah. Look at them objectively and make your decision.
Now, what rank is Dennis Houck?
Sergeant.
He's a sergeant. Mm-hmm. And Jeff Pierce is a captain.
Jeff Pierce is undersheriff.
Undersheriff, but
Brandon Barnes is captain.
He's a captain.
Yep.
Okay. So I wonder how undersheriff and captain relate as far as rank goes.
Oh, well, undersheriff is second in command.
Yes.
So he's top dog wherever he rolls.
Yes.
And then you have Captain Barnes, and you've got to really respect both those guys. I mean, they've done it all. Either one of them, they've done it all. I mean, Jeff is the undersheriff, and then you have Barnes, who isn't an undersheriff, but that seems like the only thing that he hasn't done has been the undersheriff. He's ran the full gamut, and for his age, that's impressive. I mean, that's a go-getter. It really is. If you're going to do that many different things in your career, you're pushing every day.
Mm-hmm.
So
well, they did spend a lot of time at the jail, both of them, running a jail, managing the not only the people, the employees, but the inmates
and the budget of the jail
and the budget. Yeah.
So they've done their part. I believe they're more sheriff material than Dennis.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what we got on the sheriff's guys. It was a good forum.
Hey, I'm going to say this. I'm a little tired of hearing at these forums, too, where they're always saying, we're going to provide you with safety. You know, we're
Yeah.
here for your safety, and I just don't buy that line.
Public
Okay.
safety. If I hear that again, I'm going to
Yeah.
scream. I'm
I
so
mean,
sick of public safety.
As an individualist and an American, I believe my safety is my responsibility.
Yep.
And I mean, you've heard it said a million times, right? When seconds count, the cops are minutes away.
Exactly.
Right. So I'm really getting weary from hearing them talk about how they're going to provide safety for us.
Well, and I mean, if you live in a republic, it's a scary thing. It's saying that you're going to take care of yourself. And like it or not, we still live in a republic.
Yes.
I know we call it a democracy, or we hear it as a democracy all the time, and it is a democratic republic, but we are a republic.
Right.
The way we maintain that is through a democratic process.
Right. I talked to Jeff Pierce after that forum just a little bit, and I said, you know, and I told him I'm tired of hearing about that, how you're going to provide safety. But I said, the thing that the police represent to me is when I'm driving along in my car and I see a young boy or a young girl walking down the street, okay? And then I say to myself, that young person has the right to be able to walk down the street without fear and unmolested. You know what I mean? And that is how I see the police department.
Well,
Okay.
and that would come back to the public safety. That's
Yeah.
what they should be talking about,
Yes.
is public safety,
Right.
not you and I.
Right. And then there was a guy in Orville this week that I heard on the radio that saw his neighbor's house being broken into, and he went over and held him at gunpoint until the cops got there.
Yeah.
Okay. And I thought that was great. But the radio program said, you know, you're not supposed to be taking the law into your own hands. But, I mean, ideally, the man did what needed to be done, because we don't know how many times his neighbor's been broken into. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They put you
So,
in jail. Right away. They put you in jail. Right away. They put you in jail. Right away.
I think that's what Dennis is thinking about me right now.
They had a special cell already.
Good thing there's 10 different ways to come into Yuba City, huh?
He's got to be right on the which one I'm coming in on.
They put you in jail. Right away.
So
it was pretty uneventful, that debate. I mean, it was good, but it showed the enthusiasm of
Yeah.
Brandon Barnes. I
Oh,
mean,
yeah.
he was definitely enthusiastic.
Yes.
Yeah.
He was
Spoke
enthusiastic.
very well.
And, you know, one thing he said that I really did like was this paper that I have here of his Barnes action plan. And he
Yeah.
isn't talking about an action plan. He's handing out an action plan of, here it is. This is what I'm going to do. And check it out.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it's something that if you keep, you can hold his feet to the fire on later on, of saying, hey, you know, that action plan, I still have that. Are you doing any of it?
Yeah.
I mean, it's commendable when he'll put something in writing and hand it out.
Yeah, and I believe he is the only candidate that has published an action plan. I mean, he has it in detail what he wants to do.
I hope
Does
that
it include range days with the sheriff?
You know,
It does.
Yes.
It
Yes,
does.
I'm excited about that. That's
So,
awesome.
Tell
Yeah.
us about that, Jason. Right.
What he talked about was with CCW holders, rather than making them do something and extra to hold their CCW with qualifying and things like that, is he would like to arrange range days with the sheriff, to where he goes out and, you know, shows people how to shoot, puts kind of a SWAT spin on it or some kind of tactical shoot on it, and then wants to go out and shoot with his CCW holders. It's twofold. It gets him familiar with them, that they can shoot, and also make sure that he's kind of, what I would think is, keeping an eye on his CCW holders. You know, whenever he gets slant and pushback from the state and other things, saying, well, you just give out, CCWs like candy. He can say, you know what, I shoot with these guys. They're qualified. They're well-rounded individuals. And yeah, I gave them a CCW.
Not to mention the Second Amendment, says that our rights shall not be infringed.
Exactly.
And like Tammy pointed out, when said exclusive rights. You know, these little words make a difference.
They make a difference.
Shall,
They mean
I mean, you
something.
take the word shall into court and everybody knows, I mean, that's emphatic. There's no bending that word.
Shall doesn't mean may?
No.
Oh.
No, shall doesn't mean may, or doesn't mean maybe.
Huh.
That's right.
Okay.
So, yeah. You know what I
That's
mean?
good to know.
I love it.
Yes, I have to review plans daily in compliance with the building code, and the building code uses that shall and shall not quite a bit.
Oh,
And,
you betcha.
There's
You
no
betcha, but they
wiggle
seem
room
to
there.
ignore the word shall in the Second Amendment, haven't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you know what else I find is you can tell that the building code was written by a city agency because there's a lot of may in there too. Shall not, and may.
Yes. The whole different ball game with
Yep,
those two words.
there is a difference.
Yes.
Definitely a difference. So I'm on Brandon Barnes's page right now, and we were talking about their experience, and I didn't want to. I knew what I wanted to say, but I didn't want to say it wrong. So I went to his page, and he does say on his page that he currently holds the rank of captain, and he's the jail commander. So he is in charge of the jail. He's the jail commander, and he manages a staff of 80 and an inmate population of almost 400. So
And-
that's definite good experience.
And don't forget the 24th, which I believe is, what day is that? Is that Wednesday?
The 24th. Let's see. Tuesday the 24th.
Tuesday the 24th. That is his Shades with the Sheriff with Chris Starkey and One Eye Blind Media on It's Yuba City and More. So we want to be sure and put that plug out there because I think that's our most up to date. Well, I mean, that's our next candidate forum to
Yeah.
hear a candidate speak.
That is the next opportunity.
Meet and greet or whatever you want to call it is that date with Brandon Barnes and Chris Starkey from One Eyed Blind Media.
Now, I'm going to say this when I was at the forum, that it seemed to me like Dennis Houck was putting a lot of emphasis on how the employees in the sheriff department, how he wanted to be, really mixed well with them, and it just didn't seem.
Well, that's to me
up and
sounds
up.
like somebody who doesn't have management experience, because like my husband knows, he's not one of the guys. He doesn't go have a beer with them. He will send them after work somewhere and pick up the tab, but he's not among them.
Right.
He
And-
does it as a reward for them, but
Yes.
he's not with
Right.
them.
Because
I
guess
got the
what?
same feeling because as an employer,
Tomorrow may be your last day.
Yeah.
You may have to fire them because that's the way it goes.
Yes.
But you can darn sure send them for a beer or you can send them for pizza, but you just really can't intermingle with them enough to where.
No, it doesn't work. The
Hey,
intermingling
but just
doesn't
warn the
work.
pizza place, if you do that, warn the pizza place not to leave them unattended in the bar, because as soon as they leave the room, they will get behind the counter and start serving themselves.
Oh,
true story.
Wow, yes, that was all bad. I had a big credit card bill one time, sending people out sending them out. So you start the tab, you end the tab, and then you leave because otherwise, you can get really. It's not good.
Overdrawn.
Yeah.
Don't leave them unattended.
Yeah.
Yes.
They're like children, and you're a babysitter. Make no doubt about it. Glorified babysitter. We just missed a call because I couldn't hear it because my headphones are too loud. So if the caller's listening, if you'll call back, we'll take your call. I just missed it. So,
Yeah. Watch the blinky light.
well, I
It'll
got a
start
lot
blinking.
going on in here,
Okay.
and I'm not multitasked at all.
Okay. I will go ahead and give you guys the update on what's coming up this week. We've talked about Tuesday the 24th. That is Shades with the Sheriff, with Sheriff candidate Brandon Barnes. It's a Facebook Live hosted by It's Yuba City and More. It's at 5 p.m. So go to that Facebook page, It's Yuba City and More, and watch that Facebook Live event on Tuesday the 24th. And leading up to that, he might still be taking questions. He's going to select 5 questions to pose to that candidate. So if you want to be interactive and have a say in that, go ahead and message him your suggestion of a question. Then on Thursday would be the next event happening. That's on 4/26. You have the next Chamber of Commerce Appeal Democrat Candidate Forum. They're going to be hosting the Sutter County District 2 and 3 supervisors and the Superintendent of Schools at the Yuba City Council Chambers at 6 p.m. So I guess that would be the Sutter County Superintendent of Schools candidates. So they're at the Yuba City Council Chambers at 6 p.m. Thursday, 4/26. And then Friday, 4/27, we have our second Shades with the Sheriff event, Facebook Live with Sheriff candidate Dennis Hauk. Get to see both those are going to be the first two candidates up for that. I don't think we have a date yet for Jeff, but hopefully that comes on board soon and we'll update you with that. But right now we have the first two, Tuesday and Friday this coming week. So Friday, Catch Shades with the Sheriff again with Dennis Hauk on that Facebook Live hosted by It's Yuba City More. And again, it's at 5 p.m. And then we've got some weeks, the following week, we've got a number of events coming up as well. Real quickly, on 5/2, Chamber of Commerce Appeal Democrat Candidate Forum for Sutter County DA and Sheriff, and that's at the Yuba City Council Chambers at 6 p.m. Thursday, 5/3, May 3rd, you have Sutter County Republican and Democratic Central Committees are co-hosting a forum for the DA and Sheriff at the Yuba City Council's Chambers, 6 p.m. Then Monday, 5/7, Sutter Butte's Tea Party Patriots hosting a candidate forum for the Sutter County Superintendent of Schools. So those are the next couple weeks lineup of opportunities to hear candidates and ask your questions.
Now, this one brought a smile to my face. Thursday on the 3rd, Sutter County Republican and Democratic Central Committees.
Yeah, teaming up.
They're getting together, huh?
Mm-hmm.
That ought to be interesting.
Yeah. So maybe they're not too far apart already.
Maybe not.
So something I'd like to add, and it's not a candidate forum, but it's important. What? It's not a candidate forum.
Huh?
But that's what our show's about.
State of Jefferson.
Oh.
All right, we can give a plug to them.
Are they doing anything?
Yes. Becky Bowen's hosting. She's the chair of the Yuba City Jefferson Formation Committee, and she has a meeting Monday night. It starts at 6:30. Doors open at 6. You want to know what's happening in the state of Jefferson? Come by and listen.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
And it's Glad Tidings. Go to the end of the line. On the end of the road as you're driving to Glad Tidings, it's on the left-hand side. It's building 500, rooms 210, 212.
Yes. They do so much for this community.
Same place that Tammy has her Constitution class on Wednesday nights at the same time.
6:30, yeah.
Yeah.
That Church of Glad Tidings just makes their facility available to a number of community agencies, groups.
Yeah.
They're very accommodating.
They're doing the right thing.
Yeah.
Right? They're staying involved.
Mm-hmm. It's awesome. Mm-hmm. I'm there like all the time for all these various different reasons.
So I see on my list you're listening to 1410 KMYC, The Patriot, and waiting for you, Bill.
104.3 KMYC. And KMYCradio.com. And if you want the player, so you can listen live, it's KMYCradio.com.
And then also
/player.
Oh, sorry about that. And then also we will be on Facebook. Well, we will have a link from our Facebook site, Yuba Center Political Spotlight. And One Eye Blind Media will be cutting this thing up tonight and getting rid of all the
fun music.
All the fun music.
So if you're not listening live, you're missing out on half the fun.
But then they will have it uploaded to YouTube, so you'll be able to listen during the week.
At One Eye Blind Media on YouTube.
Yes. One Eye Blind Media.
I want to say you're cutting some of my favorite songs a little short there, Jason.
I realize that, but airtime is
precious.
Is precious, and we're not playing music. I'm not a disc jockey back here.
You look like a disc jockey.
Even though I think I
you
missed
got
my
a face
calling.
for radio.
I know that. There's no doubt about it.
Yesterday, I was at a ladies' shoot for a new community group we have called the Well-Armed Woman, and we have monthly meetings out at the Twin Cities Rod and Gun Club. And so I was there yesterday for this ladies' shoot. It was awesome. There was a ton of people there, and I was there, of course, with my gear, and somebody had noticed my holster, and I had the opportunity to share with her who made my holster, and showed her, because I had my Glock, the one with the light on it. I don't know what kind it is. It's a 9mm, but it has a light on it. And so I had to have a custom
Glock
holster.
26? Or?
No, that's my carry. I do know that's my carry weapon. Yes. And I don't know. I think it's a 19. Is it a 19?
It's a 19.
Okay. So for my Glock 19, I have a light on it. And so she was very impressed with this holster. And she was showing me her gear and everything. So I shared with her the Liberty holsters. And
that's what I was going to say. What kind of holster is it?
Liberty holsters. And they're made locally here in Yuba Sutter area. And they do custom work. And they do all kinds of different designs. And you can adjust your cant, I don't know all the terms.
Tension.
Yeah. They just do an amazing job.
When you draw that, does the light come on automatically?
No, there's a button for it.
There's a button for it?
Yeah, there's a button on the grip for the light.
So she's got to be really savvy with what finger she's squeezing. So, but I mean, it comes
my
down,
trigger finger is always on the frame, so I don't have to be savvy. I know exactly where that is.
Whenever you know the master grip, I mean, that's the whole thing is everybody says, guns are dangerous. Ooh, they're bad. Oh my gosh. The fact is, if you train, guns are not dangerous.
Yes. And very unlikely you're even going to have to shoot if you get that light shined on you because it blinds you.
You're seeing spots for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's whatever you get into 700 or 800 candle lumens, you're not. Yeah, you.
Yeah,
I don't care if
it's
a
great tool to have on your sidearm because you can see if you need to shoot or not.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it lights up the sky.
But the problem is once you put the light on there, is finding the holster, and that's where Liberty holster comes into play.
Custom made.
Those guys make everything custom, and they do a darn fine job. And like I say, retention can't. Whether you want it drop, whether you want a thigh holster, they do it all across the board. They can do it, and they get it done in a timely manner. I've waited up to 6-7 months for like a crossbreed holster or something else. And these guys get it done in a week, maybe 2 on the outside, depending on how busy they are. And they're local. They're right here.
That's good.
I like the feature they have for your 1911. When you holster it, it automatically puts the safety on.
Yeah, if you holster your 1911, it isn't that it puts the safety on. It does, actually. It does, yeah. If you don't have a habit of clicking your safety on. But if you do...
The case is designed that it will automatically flip
exactly.
it up.
But what it also does is like for my CDP Ultra 2 is it makes sure the safety stays on while it's holstered. So you don't got to keep reaching down and checking your safety on a 1911.
So in case you shoot yourself in the foot, we've always got right side gear.
Yes.
And by Joe Patrick, and he supplies you with IFACs.
But if you've been training, you shouldn't be shooting yourself.
There's no such thing as an accidental discharge. That's called negligence. I learned that yesterday.
Yeah. Right on. Man, I don't know how you find the time to do it all, Tammy.
We have a call? Ooh, we have a call. He's answering the phone right now. I don't know how I have the time to do it all, but I managed to do it all.
Yeah, because last week, man, I mean, it was
busy.
Daylight or way before daylight to way after dark for me all week long.
2 nights last week we had after midnight. 2 nights. I can't keep that up, you guys.
Yeah,
wait till you get my age. You don't sleep at 3 or 4 hours a night.
Oh my goodness! Yeah, that's rough.
That was tough.
But that's where you have to find your time. I find myself I get up earlier in the morning. 5 o'clock in the morning is like my wake up, and then apparently a couple nights a week now I stay up till midnight or 1. But that's where you find your time. That's pretty much it. That and you don't watch TV.
Hey, I'm going to read this little paragraph here. This is by Bastiat, too. Frederick Bastiat. Now, if you take Tammy's class, you're going to learn who he is. And this is addressed the complete perversion of the law. says, but unfortunately, law by no means confines itself to its proper functions.
Foothill Lions Club has a forum tomorrow night at 6 o'clock. That was a caller. It's in the Territorial Dispatch. It's something we missed somehow. So, Foothills Lions Club, 6 p.m., 5th District candidate. So that would be Randy Fletcher.
Yes.
John Mitzler.
Yes.
John Mitzler
and Alton Wright.
Alton Wright. And
So,
this is gonna be in the
where's it
Foothills,
at?
huh?
Oh, I just said.
Foothill
I was
Lions
trying
Club.
Foothill Lions Club.
Oh, they have a facility.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
And he gave me the address, but I didn't have anything to write
So
with.
Google it. Google
Yes.
Foothill Lions Club.
Or pick up a Territorial Dispatch. It's also in there.
Oh.
So maybe go to the Foothill.
Or
I mean,
go to eterritorial.com if you can't find a print copy.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
So one of us is going to have to make a trip up there. I'm volunteering. Randy likes me.
I know we're running low on time, but do you think you can bring up that little snippet on Christopher Columbus? Remember, we learned a little bit about him in our Constitution class.
Mm-hmm.
So contrary to what we've been taught in school. You know?
Yeah, we learned. I don't have that pulled up on my computer right now, but we did learn that the whole reason why he took the route he did was to go, because we also found out that one of his main reasons for going was to bring Christianity to
India,
to the world.
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
I believe it was India.
India, yes.
Yeah, but he needed to get around the Islam, the state of Islam. So he had to get around all the Muslims. So he decided he'd do that by going, because they didn't know the lay of the globe at that time. So he thought he'd be going around them and then come up on the other side of India, but he ended up coming to America and discovered America. But the interesting thing, when he got here, he found the native people, and he wrote in his journal, he was documenting, his engagements with these people. And the one thing he took note of was that these people, to him, seemed to have no God, no kind of set religion, really. And he thought that, wow, we can really bring Christianity to these people, and I think that they would, really benefit and prosper with that. So that was he noticed that, they didn't really have a strong religious underpinning, and he wanted to make it his goal to bring that to these people.
Yeah, so his main, from what I remember in your Constitution class, was his main goal was to bring the gospel out into the world.
Mm-hmm.
And when I was in school, I taught that, I was taught that the main function was he was out looking for
gold,
treasure for Queen Isabella.
Right. And land to claim for
Yes,
Spain.
yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's what I
So,
was taught too.
yeah.
Never knew there was other reasons why he came, other things that were,
Yeah, and nowadays they want to, list him as some kind of a, terrorist, right?
Yeah. But the other thing I found super interesting was we learned about the Barbary Pirate Wars, and you really, when you dive into it, you see this ongoing trouble with the state of Islam for over just eons, and it's always been there. It's not something new. It's not
All right.
anything new.
I hate to cut you off.
Okay.
But it's that time.
I've only got one thing to say.
One Eye Blind Media is mine.
Beware the early risers.
Have a good week, guys. We'll talk to you next weekend.
Yes.